Did you talk to your parents about what you was dealing with? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Two brothers and a mom, and at the time, my stepdad. Told you this is deep. I'm recently in the middle of a move. I've had to leave that town. I was living next to my mom in her duplex, and she turned on me recently. She is a narcissist. This is so crazy, I know. But she basically wanted double the rent. There was no support from her through all of this. For 2.5
What
years,
about what about your brothers?
they believe my mom. My mom's been lying about me. I know this sounds like a lot, but they say that if you end up with a narcissist, there was a narcissist early in your life. Well, I found mine. I did not notice these things. It's amazing what we let our parents get away with. We don't know any different, right? So
Mhm.
this was a crazy dynamic going through all of this with my son and realizing what was being done to him, and also realizing how, I'm 56 years old. So I was 54 when I moved there. All my life, I hadn't noticed it. It was other people saying to me, "Your mom's awful." See, I left home at 19. So I hadn't been back around my mom. So
Mm.
once I was back around my mom, it kind of surfaced.
So what was the straw that broke the camel's back that made you walk away finally for good?
Well, I did not want to leave my son. I will start crying about that. He's got one more year left in high school. And when it's very complicated, but he wanted to live with me back in January 23. They did not want that to happen. My ex and my ex-father-in-law, they did not want that to happen. And that's when they aggressively did what they do to persuade my son. He was resisting. There were times he was so mentally anguished over it. I would see his eyes would roll back in his head. He was struggling. And they eventually pulled a lot of other tricks. Recently, my mom wanted to double my rent. I went without working for a couple of months because I was distraught over this. My mom owes me a lot of money. I thought that it would all work out. It didn't. She got angry at me and she recently forced me to leave. So I'm in the middle of leaving. I feel relieved in a lot of ways because I had no idea about any of this. I didn't know what narcissists were. I did not know what parental alienation was, but I do now. And my ex is a bad guy. These are not good people. Look, when you turn your child against their own parent because you hate that other parent, the damage that's done to these children is it's bad.
It takes a while for a child, not a long period of time. I know firsthand. But how old was your son when he started to be coached? Because it starts with coaching before it starts with the alienation. So they had to start feeding your son information before the alienation even started. So what were some of the things that they was telling your son that made your son start to see their picture versus your picture? Because it would be, to me, it would be hard for you to deal with it because once again, I'm assuming you still don't know that you're dealing with a narcissist. You're
Right.
dealing with the situation as it's coming to you, but clearly they've been, I'm not gonna say if they've been diagnosed because I don't know, only you would know that, but they're demonstrating behaviors of a narcissist. So now they're coaching your son. What were the things that they was telling your son that made you think that something wasn't right?
So I've been divorced almost 8 years. So we were married 10 years. When I filed for divorce, the very first thing that started happening was I worked and my son was with my ex and my ex-father-in-law all day, all day. I mean, I even had to go to the judge and say, "Look, I'm custodial. I should have more time with him, but I don't. They're with him all day long. They're influencing him. They're talking bad about me." But the very first thing was the child support. My son would come back to me so angry at me because he said that his dad would not be able to afford groceries. So adults should not be talking about that to their child. You don't talk about that kind of stuff. So that was the very first thing that he really became angry at me about.
Did you go to the father, husband, and say, "Hey, why are you discussing our court cases with our son?"
Multiple
How old was your
times.
son at the time?